We want to say thank you to you, the fans,
We do.
because it looks like we might,
Actually,
hopefully,
make a movie this summer.
Bill and Ted 3.
Face the music.
Yes.
While the rest of Hollywood is busy with their fashion weeks and paparazzi stunts, Keanu Reeves proves once again why he is in a league of his own. This guy cared enough to go undercover as a FedEx driver. And no, not for some cheesy movie promotion or viral prank. He did it for something way more wholesome, surprising his childhood friend. A friend he hadn't seen in years. So how did Keanu even track this guy down after all this time? And why the FedEx costume? The childhood BFF. Most celebrities wouldn't even think about the life they left behind, let alone the people they shared it with. Once they make it big, their old neighborhoods and childhood memories get buried under layers of fame, fortune, and carefully curated lifestyles. But Keanu Reeves is not most celebrities. Instead of turning his back on the past, he chose to revisit it in a way that is both surprising and heartwarming. He went looking for someone who mattered, a childhood friend who had been by his side long before the world even knew his name. He fought to keep his friendship. Keanu did not do this for some publicity stunt or a sentimental social media post. No, this was deeply personal. He did not want to show the world how down-to-earth he is. He just wanted to find someone who had shaped his life when he was just a kid, dreaming big dreams on the streets of Toronto. Back then, the world seemed wide open and anything felt possible, especially when you had a best friend by your side. That friend was Alex Chen. The two were inseparable during their childhood. They had bonded over shared passions like comic books, wild adventures, and those endless conversations about what they wanted to be when they grew up. Their friend meant they used to dream together, believing that one day they would make something of themselves, even if their surroundings didn't exactly scream opportunity. Growing up in Toronto's Chinatown was not easy. Life was not glamorous, and their families were far from wealthy. But they had each other, and that made all the difference. Keanu and Alex were those kids who could turn a simple afternoon into an epic adventure. They would race through the alleys, pretending to be action heroes, or spend hours reading comics, imagining themselves as the next big stars. Their families became close too, often sharing meals and laughter that made the struggles of daily life a little easier to bear. It was the kind of friendship that felt unbreakable, the kind you imagine lasting forever. But life does not always stick to the plans we make as kids. While Keanu's path eventually led him to Hollywood, Alex's journey was much more grounded and much harder. The two boys who had once been partners in dreaming big ended up on very different roads. Keanu dropped out of high school at 17 and moved to Los Angeles with his family. Alex, on the other hand, stayed in Toronto, focused on finishing his education. At first, they tried to stay in touch. They would write letters and make phone calls. But as the years passed, those connections grew fewer and farther between until they eventually stopped altogether. Keanu's move to Los Angeles was the start of something huge for him, though no one could have predicted just how far he would go. He threw himself into acting, chasing roles, and building a career that would eventually make him one of the most beloved figures in Hollywood. Meanwhile, Alex was navigating a much different reality. Alex worked hard. He took on a construction job and tried to build a life for himself. It was not so great, but it was honest work. Still, their lives could not have been any more different than they already were. Years went by, and Alex could only watch from a distance as Keanu's star rose higher and higher. The moment that really drove it home came in 1989, when Alex saw Keanu's face on the big screen for the first time. It was the premiere of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It was a movie that became an instant hit and launched Keanu into stardom. For Alex, it was surreal. The boy he used to joke around with, the one he had shared all his dreams with, was now a famous movie star. Alex felt a mix of emotions. On one hand, he was proud of his friend. Seeing Keanu succeed was inspiring, a reminder that their childhood dreams had not been entirely out of reach. But on the other hand, it was a harsh reminder of his own struggles. While Keanu was making a name for himself in Hollywood, Alex was still grinding away at his construction job. He was still trying to make ends meet. He wondered if Keanu even remembered him, and if their shared history meant anything now that fame had taken over. Despite these doubts, Alex never stopped rooting for Keanu. He told himself that one day he would catch up to his old friend, not just as a fan, but as someone who had also made something of himself. He dreamed of bumping into Keanu, sharing a laugh, and reminiscing about the good old days. But as the years turned into decades, that dream began to feel more and more distant. For Keanu, though, Alex was never just a memory. Even as his fame grew, even as his life became more complicated and chaotic, he never forgot the friend who had been there when it all began. The laughter, the adventures, the shared dreams, they stayed with him, tucked away in a corner of his mind that Hollywood could not touch. But those memories were not just a source of comfort. They were also a source of regret. Keanu often wondered what had happened to Alex. Did he still live in Toronto? Was he happy? Was he even alive? These questions nagged at him. They would pop up into his head, especially during moments when the spotlight felt overwhelming to him. Then he would long for a connection that was real and untainted by fame. He wanted to know if Alex was okay, but more than that, he wanted to reconnect, to rekindle a friendship that had meant so much to him. Finding Alex, however, was easier said than done. Keanu did not know where to start. The years and miles between them had created a gap that felt almost impossible to bridge. But if there is one thing Keanu's known for, it is his determination. He was not about to give up on finding Alex. He started with the basics. He reached out to people in their old neighborhood, trying to piece together any information he could find. He scoured the internet. He dug through social media profiles and public records. His team even got involved. They used their resources to track down leads. But every time they thought they were getting close, they hit a dead end. Meanwhile, Alex had his own reasons for staying out of the spotlight. It was not that he did not miss Keanu, he did. But the idea of reconnecting after all these years filled him with anxiety. What if Keanu saw his life and felt disappointed? What if the man who had become a global icon looked at his old friend and saw someone who had failed? These fears kept Alex from reaching out, even though he thought about it often. But Keanu was not one to be deterred by a lack of leads. The memories of their childhood friendship were too important to let go of, and the not knowing gnawed at him. He wanted to find Alex, not just to relive the past, but to show his friend that their bond still mattered, even after all these years. Finally, in 2019, a breakthrough came. After years of searching, Keanu got a lead that seemed promising. It was a moment of hope, a chance to reconnect with the friend who had once been such an important part of his life. What happened next? How did he approach Alex? How did he find Alex? It was New Year's Eve in 2019. Keanu Reeves found himself scrolling through online forums connected to his hometown. Among the many usernames, one seemed odd to him. It was Toror88. It struck a chord. It brought back memories. That nickname was not random, for sure. It carried meaning only he and one other person would know. The possibility sent a jolt of excitement through him. Could this be Alex, the friend that he had been searching for? Without hesitation, Keanu typed a message, carefully explaining who he was and asking if this was the person he thought it might be. He hit send and waited. Days turned into weeks, but no response came. His hope began to fade, but it was not enough to make him stop searching. Finding Alex had become too important. Years passed, and Keanu's determination did not waver. He followed every lead, no matter how small, but each one left him at a dead end. It seemed like Alex had disappeared entirely. Just when it felt like the trail had gone cold, something changed. One of his contacts brought him a new piece of information. There was someone living in Los Angeles with the same name, and the details matched. It was enough to reignite his hopes. The fact that Alex might be in the same city was both a coincidence and a relief. This time, Keanu wanted to handle things carefully. He knew that showing up at someone's doorstep as a globally recognized actor might cause chaos, so he decided to do something unexpected. He planned to visit the house incognito. On an autumn afternoon, he stood in front of a modest home dressed in a FedEx delivery driver's uniform. The cap and package in his hands completed the disguise. He took a moment to compose himself before walking up to the door. This was more than just a meeting for Keanu. It was happening after years of searching and longing. Keanu knocked and waited as footsteps approached the door. When it opened, a man greeted him. He was expecting nothing more than a routine delivery. Without a hint of who he really was, Keanu handed over the package and asked for a signature. The man scribbled his name without even glancing up. Then something shifted. Keanu's expression softened, and his presence became more familiar. Slowly, recognition washed over the man standing before him. It was Alex. The realization hit both of them like a wave. They stood there for a moment, frozen in time as if the years apart had melted away. The two old friends hugged each other, and then Alex invited Keanu into his home. They immediately fell into conversation. They laughed together and shared memories that they held dear. It didn't take long for them to catch the rhythm they once had, as though no time had passed. The hours flew by as they reminisced about their childhood adventures, the mischief, the dreams they once shared. There were tears too, not just for the happiness of being reunited, but for the years they had lost, the moments that could never be reclaimed. It was bittersweet, but deeply meaningful. Before leaving, Keanu handed Alex a package. Inside was a photo album filled with snapshots from their early years. It was a collection of memories carefully preserved. There were images of them riding bikes, laughing, and just being kids with big dreams. Alex could not hold back the emotion as he flipped it through the pages. Those photos were reminders of the past, yes, but they were also proof of a friendship that had stood the test of time. Though they were now older, their connection was just as strong. As Keanu left, both men felt the weight of the moment. Life had taken them down very different paths, but the bond they shared had remained unbroken. While they could not change the past, they had found each other again, and that was enough to create a new beginning. Even today, Keanu and Alex meet often, enjoying their time together like old friends. Keanu says finding Alex again is one of the best things that has ever happened to him. Their bond reminds him of the simple joys of life, and he treasures every moment they share. Yes, this is the story, the one that shows exactly why Keanu Reeves is unlike anyone else in Hollywood. Let's face it, if this were another celebrity, would they have cared enough to find a childhood friend? No way. Most are too busy with their lavish lifestyles to look back, but Keanu is different, and it is not just this story. Time and again, we have seen him do things quietly, without fanfare, that prove he is truly one of a kind. So what are these moments? How is he different? Let's start with how Keanu treats the people he works with. On the set of The Matrix, he went above and beyond by gifting the stunt team Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Not as a PR move, not to gain brownie points, but simply because he valued their hard work and wanted to show his appreciation. Imagine being part of a movie crew and walking away with a Harley. Who does that? Definitely not your average celebrity. And then there is his incredible generosity. Keanu does not just throw money at causes for show. He reportedly donated millions of dollars to cancer research after his sister battled leukemia. But the inspiring thing is, he did not attach his name to it. He did not call a press conference or post about it online. He just gave quietly, because it was the right thing to do. That's Keanu for you, who has a heart of gold. His private charitable foundation is another example. Most A-listers love slapping their names on everything, but Keanu prefers to keep it low-key. The foundation supports children's hospitals and cancer research, but you would never hear about it from him. He lets the work speak for itself, proving once again that he is not in this for applause. There is also a story about him sitting on the sidewalk with a homeless man, sharing snacks and conversation. Another time, he waited in the rain to get into his own rap party because he did not want to use his name to cut the line. And who could forget the viral sad Keanu photo? While the internet turned it into a meme, it also highlighted the actor's quiet, reflective nature. He never puts on a show to gain attention. He just be himself, and people notice that. One of the most touching stories is how he supported his sister during her fight with leukemia. Keanu put his career on hold to be by her side, proving that family comes first, no matter what. And it is not just his sister. Keanu's empathy extends to everyone he encounters. He is the kind of guy who would give you his time, his attention, and even his seat on the subway. Speaking of that, yes, Keanu takes the subway. He has been spotted riding public transport like an ordinary person, giving up his seat for others without hesitation. It is a small act, but it speaks volumes about the kind of man he is. Most celebrities would not dream of stepping foot on public transport, let alone treating fellow passengers with such respect. And let's not forget how he interacts with fans. Keanu is known for taking the time to chat, sign autographs, and make people feel special. He never rushes through meet and greets or acts like he is doing anyone a favor. He is genuinely grateful for the support, and it shows. Even on set, Keanu is a class act. Crew members have shared countless stories of his generosity. There was this one time when he bought breakfast and lunch for the entire team during the last weeks of filming Chain Reaction. But maybe there were even more times like this. It is just that we don't know about them. His crew members also shared that this one time he helped a coworker get their car repaired just because he could. It is these little things that reveal his true character. All in all, Keanu Reeves is more than just an amazing actor. He is a reminder that kindness, humility, and generosity still exist in a world that often seems to reward the opposite. Whether he is giving up millions to support a cause, treating everyone around him with respect, or refusing to compromise his principles, Keanu shows us that being different is actually inspiring. From finding his childhood friend to quietly giving back, he shows us the power of kindness and humility in a world that often forgets both. His reunion with Alex was proof that he values the things money and fame cannot buy, and that's what makes him so different, so unforgettable. What's your favorite Keanu moment? Is it his generosity, his humility, or something else? Tell us in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around for more incredible stories. See you in the next one.